going back a long way. Further back than most stories go. Back to a time when the world was smaller and the gods were closer. When the sea was dangerous and the stars were how you found your way home. Back to two poems that have been told and retold for so long that they've become part of the air. Stories so old, they were already ancient when the people we think of as ancient were alive. We're going to take our time with them. There's no rush. The Iliad. Somewhere around 1200 BC, on the coast of what we now call Turkey, there was a city. The city was called Troy. It had high walls. It sat above the sea. It was, by the standards of its time, wealthy and well defended and beautifully positioned. The kind of city people assumed would always be there. Across the water, on the mainland of Greece, there were several kingdoms, loosely connected, ruled by kings who were sometimes allies and sometimes rivals. And one day, for reasons that were probably complicated, that probably had more to do with trade routes and power than with love, although love is the story that survived, a group of those kingdoms agreed to sail across the Aegean and lay siege to Troy. They were there for 10 years. That is where Homer begins, in the middle of the war, the 10th year, when everybody is exhausted and something happens that makes everything worse. The Greeks, Homer calls them the Achaeans, have been raiding nearby towns throughout the war, gathering supplies, taking what they need. In one of these raids, a man named Agamemnon, the commander of the whole Greek force, the most powerful king among them, has taken a woman named Chryseis as a captive. Her father is a priest, an old man. He comes to the Greek camp with gold and offerings and the symbols of his god, and he asks very calmly for his daughter back. Agamemnon says no. The old man goes home. He prays on the beach, alone in the dark, and his god, Apollo, hears him. For 9 days, Apollo sends plague arrows into the Greek camp. First, the animals sicken and die. Then the men. The funeral pyres burn without stopping. On the 9th day, Achilles calls the army together. He wants to know what's causing this. A prophet tells them, Chryseis must be returned. Agamemnon must let her go. Agamemnon agrees, and then, in front of everyone, he announces that since he is giving up his prize, he will be taking someone else's. He takes Briseis, a captive who belongs to Achilles. Achilles is the best warrior in the Greek army. Perhaps the best warrior who has ever lived. He is fast and strong and supernaturally gifted in battle. He is the son of a goddess. His mother is Thetis, a sea nymph, and she loves him with the particular ferocity of a mother who knows she is going to lose her child. Because Achilles knows something. He has been told. His fate offers him a choice. A long, peaceful life, or a short life and eternal glory. He chooses glory. He came to Troy knowing he would not come back from it. This should perhaps make him calm. It does not make him calm. What Agamemnon has done, taking Briseis publicly in front of the whole army is a humiliation. In the world these men live in, honour is visible. It is the prizes you've been given, the respect that others show you, the public acknowledgement of your worth. Agamemnon has, in front of everyone, made Achilles' honour subject to his own whim. Achilles is furious. He is, for a moment, close to killing Agamemnon on the spot. Only the goddess Athena, appearing invisible behind him, stops him. "Use words," she says. He uses words. Achilles withdraws from battle. He goes back to his ships, sits on the shore, and tells his mother what has happened. Thetis comes up from the sea to hold him while he weeps. She goes to Zeus and asks him to let the Greeks suffer without Achilles, to let them understand what they've lost. Zeus agrees, and the war tilts. The battles that follow are long and grinding and full of death. Every time a man dies, not just the heroes, every man, Homer pauses. He gives him a line or two, where he came from, who his father was, whether he had a wife, whether he died young, just enough to make you feel it before the battle moves on. The gods are busy throughout all of this. The Olympian gods are not distant or inscrutable. They are very much present, and they are, there's no other word for it, petty. Hera is on the Greek side because Paris, a Trojan prince, once judged Aphrodite more beautiful than her in a divine beauty contest. And she has not forgiven this. Athena sides with the Greeks for similar reasons. Aphrodite backs Troy because Paris chose her. Apollo has his own loyalties. Zeus is technically in charge and is doing his best. His best is frequently not enough. There are scenes on Olympus that feel almost like comedy. Gods squabbling, Ares coming home wounded and complaining, Hera distracting Zeus on a mountain top while Poseidon meddles below. And then Homer cuts back to the battlefield where the consequences of these divine games are being paid for in blood by people who had no say in any of it. That gap between the lightness on Olympus and the weight on the ground is jarring. I want to talk about Hector for a while. Hector is the greatest warrior on the Trojan side. He is Priam's eldest son, the prince who will one day inherit the city, the man the Trojans depend on. He fights every day, knowing the war is probably going to go badly. He fights anyway, not for glory exactly, for his city, his family, the people who need him. There is a scene in the middle of the poem where Hector goes inside the walls to find his wife Andromache. He finds her not at home, but up on the walls, watching the battle, their infant son in her arms. She asks him not to go back out. She tells him plainly she has already lost everyone, her father, her brothers, her mother, all gone. He is all she has. When he dies, she will have nothing. Their son will be fatherless. Hector listens, doesn't argue with her. He tells her he knows. He says that the thought of her taken as a slave after Troy falls, that is the thing he cannot bear. Not his own death, that. and then he says he still has to go, that his shame in hiding would be worse than whatever is coming. He reaches for his son to hold him. The baby screams, frightened by the great horsehair crest on his father's battle helmet. So Hector takes the helmet off. He sets it down on the ground. He picks up his son, and the baby is immediately fine, reaching for the bright metal. Hector laughs. Andromache laughs too, through tears. He puts the helmet back on. He goes back to the battle. The Greeks continue to suffer. The Trojans press them back towards the ships. Heroes fall wounded. The camp fills with the sound of lamentation. Agamemnon, who caused all of this, sends an embassy to Achilles. 3 men, Phoenix, who helped raise Achilles, Ajax, who was straightforward and sincere, and Odysseus, who was eloquent and strategic. They offer everything. Briseis returned, treasure, kingdoms, whatever Achilles wants. Achilles refuses. But he doesn't go home. He stays. In his tent, on the shore, not fighting, but there. The Trojans breach the camp's walls. They reach the ships. They begin setting them on fire. And Patroclus, Achilles' closest companion, partner, the person he loves most in the world, comes to him. Patroclus has been watching the Greeks suffer, and he cannot stand it any longer. He is gentler than Achilles, warmer, more easily moved by other people's pain. He weeps. He asks Achilles, "If you won't fight, let me go. Let me wear your armour. The Trojans will think it's you. Just let me drive them back from the ships." Achilles agrees. He gives very specific instructions. Drive them back, then stop. Come home. Patroclus rides out in Achilles' armour, and the effect on the Trojans is immediate. Fear runs through their ranks. He drives them back and back and back, and then he doesn't stop. He pushes towards Troy's walls. Apollo meets him there. The god doesn't fight him directly. He simply stops him, knocks away his helmet, breaks his spear, stuns him, leaves him standing exposed in the middle of a field. A Trojan spears him from behind. Hector finishes it. Hector strips the armour, Achilles' armour, and puts it on. He doesn't know yet what he has set in motion. The news reaches Achilles. He falls to the ground. He covers himself in ash. He cries out, a sound so raw that his mother hears it from under the sea and rises to come to him. She holds him. She listens. He tells her Patroclus is dead. And then he tells her he is going back to the battle. She doesn't try to stop him. She knows she can't. She tells him what they both already know, that if he kills Hector, he will die soon after. Achilles says, "Then let me die." His mother goes to the divine smith and asks him to make new armour. The shield he creates depicts the entire world. Cities in peacetime and in war, farmland, vineyards, a dance floor, young people moving in patterns, the river ocean running around the edge, all of human life caught in metal. Why put that on a weapon? Because Achilles knows what he's going into, and he's not coming back from it. The shield is everything he is leaving behind. He goes back to war. He is terrifying in a way that is different from before. The grief has become something cold and total. He kills without anger, which is somehow worse than killing with it. He fills the rivers with bodies until the rivers rise against him. In this world, the river speaks, the river acts, the river tells him that this has gone too far. Even the rivers have limits. He finds Hector. Hector waits for him outside the gates of Troy. He has decided to face Achilles. He has made his peace with it, or tried to, and then he sees Achilles coming and something in him won't hold, and he runs. He runs around the walls of Troy 3 times. His father watches from above and begs him to come inside. His mother begs. He runs. And then he stops. He turns around. He looks at Achilles and knows there is no bargain to be made here. There is nothing left in Achilles that would hear one. He charges anyway. They fight. Achilles kills him. Achilles ties Hector's body to his chariot and drags it around the walls of Troy every day for 12 days. Hector's parents watch. His wife watches. Apollo preserves the body miraculously. It doesn't decay. It doesn't wound. But Achilles doesn't stop. The gods grow uncomfortable. Even those on the Greek side think it has gone far enough. Finally, they send word to Priam, Hector's father. Go to Achilles. Ransom the body. Priam prepares the ransom. His sons try to stop him. His wife begs him not to go. He goes anyway, at night, with a cart full of treasure. He enters Achilles' tent. He kneels. He takes Achilles' hands, the hands that killed Hector, and he kisses them. He says, "I am like your father. I am an old man. I had many sons, and the best of them, the one all the others depended on, you killed. I have come here anyway. I am asking for my son's body back." Achilles is very still for a moment. He thinks of his own father, who is old and alive and somewhere far away. He thinks of Patroclus. He thinks of all of it, the whole of what has happened, and the grief comes up in him again. Not rage this time, just grief, plain and raw. He helps Priam up. He speaks to him gently. He says that the gods have made human life what it is. full of suffering, full of loss. And we are, all of us, inside it together. He says, I will give you your son. Achilles promises 11 days of truce. Then the war starts again, and they will both do what they have to do. But not yet. They eat together. Two men on opposite sides of a war that has consumed everything, sharing a meal in a tent in the dark. Priam looks at Achilles and sees the grief and the terrible youth of him. Achilles looks at Priam and sees his father. The Iliad ends with Hector's funeral, the preparations, the lamentation, the fire, the gathering of his bones, the burial mound rising above him, and the war goes on. We're moving into the second poem now. It's a different world in some ways, wider, stranger, more full of wonders. But underneath the wonders is really a story about one thing: going home. 10 years have passed since Troy fell. The heroes scattered. Some made it back, some didn't. And Odysseus, king of Ithaca, is still not home. He left Troy 10 years ago. He has been trying to get back to his kingdom, his son, his wife, for all of that time. The poem begins not with Odysseus, but with his son, Telemachus. Telemachus is about 20 years old. He has never met his father. He has grown up in a house that isn't quite his own anymore, because while Odysseus has been gone, something has happened to Ithaca. Over 100 young men from noble families across the region have moved into the palace. Suitors, all of them competing for the hand of Penelope, Odysseus' wife, on the reasonable seeming assumption that after 20 years, Odysseus is dead. They eat his food and drink his wine and slaughter his animals. Telemachus has no power to remove them. He is still young, and his father's name is a shadow over him rather than a shelter. Penelope manages them with patience and intelligence. She has not given up on Odysseus. She doesn't know if he's alive, but she has not let herself stop believing that he might be. For 3 years, she has held the suitors off with a ruse, weaving a funeral shroud for Laertes, Odysseus' elderly father, promising to choose a husband when it was done. Every night, by lamplight, she unpicked the day's work. Someone told on her, and the ruse is over now, and the pressure is mounting. Let's go back in time to find Odysseus. Because the Odyssey tells his journey partly in retrospect. We meet him, and then we hear him tell his own story to people who have taken him in. When we first find him, he is on an island at the edge of the world, the island of Ogygia. He has been there for 7 years. The island belongs to a goddess named Calypso, who loves him. She has kept him there. She offers him immortality. "Stay with me," she says. "Live forever, never age, never suffer." She means it. He turns her down. Every day he sits on the shore and looks west towards home and cries. He wants Ithaca. He wants Penelope. He wants his own ordinary life. No amount of divine comfort makes up for the absence of that. Eventually, the gods intervene. Athena has always liked Odysseus, convinces Zeus to send word, "Let him go." Calypso receives the message and she is sad, but she lets him go. She helps him build a raft. She teaches him the stars. She gives him supplies. He sails. Poseidon, god of the sea, spots him. Poseidon has a long grievance with Odysseus, which we'll come to. He destroys the raft with a storm, and Odysseus spends 3 days in the water before washing up, barely alive, on a foreign shore. Here is the journey, as Odysseus tells it later, in the warm hall of a king who has fed him and asked to hear everything. He tells of the Cicones, a city they raided, where they lingered, celebrating afterwards instead of leaving when they should have. And the city's allies came and killed many of them. He tells of the lotus eaters, a people whose food induces a gentle, total forgetting. His men eat it and only want to stay, not go home. He drags them back to the ships, weeping. Then the Cyclops. The Cyclops' name is Polyphemus. He is the son of Poseidon. He lives alone in a cave with his sheep, and he eats people. He eats several of Odysseus' men. Odysseus cannot simply kill him. The boulder blocking the cave entrance can only be moved by the Cyclops himself. So Odysseus waits. He sharpens a stake. He gets the Cyclops drunk on wine. When the Cyclops sleeps, he drives the heated stake into his eye. Before this, the Cyclops had asked his name. Odysseus told him, "My name is Nobody." When the Cyclops screams and his neighbours come to ask what's wrong, he shouts that nobody is hurting him. They go away. Odysseus and his men escape under the sheep in the morning, hidden beneath the animal's wool, as the blinded Cyclops feels across their backs. They reach the boats. They push off from shore. And then Odysseus cannot help himself. He shouts back his real name. He needs the Cyclops to know who bested him. The Cyclops prays to Poseidon. He says, "Let Odysseus never reach home, or if he must, let him arrive late and alone on a stranger's ship to find trouble waiting." Poseidon hears this. Every delay that follows is, in some sense, that prayer being answered. Odysseus tells of the bag of winds. Aeolus, lord of the winds, gives him a bag containing everything that could blow him off course, leaving only the west winds to carry him home. They are close enough to see fires burning on Ithaca's shore when Odysseus falls asleep, and his men, thinking the bag contains treasure he's keeping from them, open it. All the winds escape at once and drive them back to where they started. He tells of the Laestrygonians, a race of cannibalistic giants who destroy all of the fleet except Odysseus' own ship, throwing boulders from cliffs, spearing men in the water, killing them all in minutes. He tells of Circe, a sorceress on her own island, who turns his scouting party into pigs. Odysseus, given an antidote by Hermes, goes to confront her. He stays for a year as Circe's lover. Odysseus is delayed on his journey, not just by hardship, but also by comfort. Then Circe sends him to the underworld. The underworld is silent. Odysseus digs a pit at the edge of the world's ocean and pours offerings into it, and the dead come. Thousands of them, grey and frail, pressing towards the blood. He has to hold them back with his sword until he's spoken to the people he needs. He speaks to Tiresias, the prophet, who tells him how to get home and warns him about the cattle of the sun god on the island of Thrinacia. Don't touch them, Tiresias says. Whatever else happens, whatever hunger or desperation, don't touch them. Then his mother comes. He didn't know she had died. He had been away, and she had died at home of grief and longing for him. She comes to him in the underworld, and he tries to hold her. She passes through his arms like smoke. 3 times he reaches, and 3 times she disperses. She explains that this is what the dead are. They cannot be held. She tells him about Ithaca. She tells him Penelope is faithful. She tells him to go home. He speaks to old comrades. He speaks to Achilles, who says that he would rather be the lowest slave alive than king of all the dead. Everything he chose against, long, anonymous life, the ordinary texture of existing. Achilles is saying here plainly that he got it wrong. Odysseus tells of the sirens that sing from an island that sailors sail towards and die on. Their voices promise not pleasure but knowledge. They offer to tell you everything that has happened and everything that will. Odysseus has himself lashed to the mast and sails past, hearing everything, unable to act on it. He begs to be released. His crew, ears blocked with wax, cannot hear him and row steadily past. He is the only person in the world who has heard the sirens and lived. He tells of Scylla and Charybdis, a 6-headed monster and a whirlpool side by side. Impossible to avoid both. He chooses Scylla, a certain small loss rather than a risk of everything. he watches 6 of his men taken. He says it was the worst thing he witnessed in all his years of travel. He tells of Thrinacia, the island with the sun god's cattle. They are trapped there by storms for a month. Their food runs out. While Odysseus sleeps, the men slaughter the cattle. They're desperate and hungry, and they make the wrong choice. The sun god demands justice. Zeus sends a thunderbolt, and the sea swallows the ship, and everyone dies. Everyone except Odysseus, who clings to wreckage, who survives, who washes up, at last, on Ogygia, where Calypso keeps him, where we found him. When Odysseus finally reaches Ithaca, he wakes, not knowing where he is. Athena has covered the island in mist. He doesn't recognize it. And then she appears and tells him, "You're home." He cries and puts on the disguise Athena prepares for him. Old, ragged, barely recognizable, and goes off to find his swineherd. Eumaeus is a good man. He has served Odysseus faithfully for 20 years, without knowing whether his master was alive or dead. He feeds this beggar and gives him shelter and talks about the suitors with real feeling and about his missing master with grief. He has no idea he's talking to Odysseus. Odysseus watches him. He listens. He waits. Telemachus comes home from his voyage. Odysseus reveals himself to his son. Tenderly, carefully, giving him time to understand. They weep. They sit together. They make a plan. The plan is simple and dangerous. Odysseus will enter his own hall as a beggar. No one must know who he is. They will watch and wait, and when the moment comes, they will act. In the hall, the suitors are exactly as described. Arrogant, consuming. One of them throws a footstool at the old beggar, and the room laughs. Odysseus endures it. Penelope comes down and speaks to him. She tells him she is being pressured to choose, that she doesn't know what to do, that she has decided to hold a contest with Odysseus's great bow, which no one else has ever been able to string. Whoever can string it and fire an arrow through the line of 12 axe heads will have her hand. She asks this stranger if he knows anything about her husband, whether he is alive. He tells her, still in his rags, still the beggar, that Odysseus is alive and close by and coming home. She weeps. He holds himself still. He blinks back his own tears, because it is not yet time. The old nurse, Eurycleia, washes his feet as custom requires, and her hands find a scar on his thigh, a childhood wound. She dressed it herself 50 years ago. Her hands stop. She looks at his face. He takes her hand. He looks at her. "Don't say a word," she doesn't. The contest. The great bow is brought out, a bow of extraordinary weight and stiffness, a bow only Odysseus ever mastered. Suitor after suitor fails to string it. They try everything. They heat it, oil it, strain against it. None of them can do it. The beggar asks to try. There is laughter. Telemachus insists. The bow is handed over. Odysseus holds it the way a craftsman holds a tool, turning it, checking it, unhurried, completely calm. The room watches. He strings it. He plucks the string once, lightly, to hear the note. Then he looks at Telemachus. The arrow passes through all 12 axe heads. The door to the outside is sealed. What follows is violent. Odysseus and his son and 2 loyal servants against over 100 men. When it is over, the hall is still. The suitors are dead. The long occupation of his house is finished. And then Odysseus goes to find Penelope. She has been told. Her nurse came upstairs, half laughing, half crying, and told her, "He is here. He killed them. He is here." She sits across from him in the firelight, and she looks at him, and she waits. Her mind moving between knowing and not knowing, between the man she remembers and the strange, weather-worn person in front of her. 20 years. He left when they were young. She is not the woman who watched him sail away, and he is not that man. Telemachus, 20 years old, and impatient with everything he doesn't yet understand, tells her she is too hard, that no woman should hold back from a husband returned after so long. Penelope doesn't answer him. She tells a servant to make up the bed from the master's chamber, move it out into the hall. Odysseus goes very still. He says, "That bed cannot be moved. I built it myself. One post of it is a living olive tree, still rooted in the ground, growing up through the floor of the bedroom. I built the room around it. I built the bed frame from the living wood. No one can move it. If the bed is in the hall, someone has cut through the root." And Penelope's knees give way, because only he knows that. The specific knowledge that no one else could have, the thing that proves beyond argument that this is him. She runs to him. She holds him. They go to their room, the room built around the living tree, the bed that cannot be moved, and they talk through the night. He tells her where he has been. She tells him what it was like to wait. There is no summary for that conversation. It is private, and it is theirs, and the poem doesn't intrude on it. Homer gives them sleep at the end of it, which is, in the circumstances, everything. These are old stories, old enough that for 400 years before anyone wrote them down, they were passed from voice to voice, kept alive because they were useful, because they were honest, because something in them answered something the people who heard them. What they understood, I think, is that the questions that matter most can't be answered simply. What does it cost to pursue glory? What does survival require you to become? What do you owe the dead? What is home, really? And can you return to it after you've been gone long enough to become someone different? Homer doesn't answer these questions. He holds them up in full light and lets you look at them. Thanks for watching this video. Remember to like and subscribe to the Literary Buffet for the 5-minute summary and the 20-minute deep dive versions of Homer's epics and 45-minute sleep stories of other classic literary tales.